then after that, I went to the Akashic Records. And once I went into the Akashic Records, that's where I saw Akashic Record Keepers, which are like really tall beings. And the book they gave me was the Book of Earth. And then once I opened the book, it was just Book of Light. And then I saw the future of Earth. So I saw how we were going to eventually reach that utopia that we all wish, that, world peace and no more borders, no more poverty.
Rafael, if you'd like to share with us about your near-death experience and any relevant information leading up to that.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So basically, I've been able to see spirits my whole life since I was like 12, 13. And so that was kind of common as far as having those experiences. And my family too, my mom and dad, they would see spirits too. And so, I was used to this whole thing with being able to see spirits. So that was kind of like something that I think it helped once I had my NDE and stuff. So when I had my NDE, at first I was actually asleep and I thought it was a spirit because I woke up and then I felt an energy. And then when I saw this energy, I saw a light, which I came to understand the way up now after all this experience. I came to understand it. When people see the light, it's a portal to the other realms. And for me, that's the fourth dimension. So the way I came to understand it, there's different dimensions, different realms. So like right now we're in the third realm or dimension, if you want to call it that. And then the fourth realm, it's that where all the people that are having access to these NDEs, where they see the light, that's just a portal to the fourth realm. And then that's in the fourth realm, basically, that's where, you'll meet all your family members that's where I first met all my family members on the other side. After that, they told me, okay, we'll see you later. And then there was a chamber and a door. And then I knew that I had to go there. And as I went in there, that's where I met the Council of Light, which were these 12 beings. I saw 12 beings and they were just like beings of light. And I felt all this love. And it's like being with your, maybe the people that you love the most. Like there's not going to be no judgment there. Like your grandma, your mom, people that love you. Like it's felt all this love and acceptance. And the way I saw them were more like my brothers or family members. So that's the way I could perceive them. And then once I saw them, they were like, hey, congratulations. We're really proud of you, of your life. And we would just like to show you your life review. And then I, so it was like being in a small auditorium. And then I saw the screens and then I was able to see my life review. And then in the life review, they show me like when I show kindness, when I help someone, I say a kind word or something nice, they show me that. And then where I came to understand it, each one of those beings represented like a different lesson that we're here to master. So for example, like the lessons, of course, are the virtues. So integrity, honesty, compassion, kindness, and conditional love. And of course, the little more difficult ones, patience, forgiveness, letting go, and then judgment, respect, stuff like that. So there's also these lessons that we're here to learn. And then I came to understand that each one of those, all of our life experiences come our way through our higher being, out through soul contracts that are to teach us a particular lesson, right? So, and of course, the difficult ones are the ones that are going to teach you about letting go of forgiveness. And so for all the people that are going through something in their lives, it's just try to decode your life lessons and understand that, okay, this is actually just to make me grow, to make me, overcome and just become wiser or just to learn and master the lesson. So that was kind of how I got to see the Council of Light. And after that, I was shown around me like dozens of circles that were around me. And then each one of those circles were like spheres of light. They had screens. They were like white transparent and they had screens. And then I came to understand that they were all lifetimes. And then I got to see that they were all happening at the same time. So that's when I came to understand that, but then later on, as I started reading more about it, but it's like, there is no time. So all lifetimes are happening at the same time. They're just happening at different frequencies. And then I came to understand that there was a linear evolution of the soul, of experiencing itself, that the way it was shown to me was like, you started at a point in the circle, and then it kind of goes around. And as it goes around the circle, it keeps evolving through experiences and through soul contracts and through different experiences, right? Like if you and the karma kind of like is twisted in there, it's intertwined. So in a way, like if you maybe committed something in this lifetime, and then it will came back. And then in a way, it's just so that it's so you can master the lessons, right? So that you choose the light, so that you will never harm anyone, that you're honest, that you have integrity. Maybe in this one lifetime, I didn't have integrity, but then in this other lifetime, it happened to me, like something happened to me. So then I learned, it'll keep coming back to you over and over until you learn into your soul. It's imprinted because it's imprinted in your soul essence. And so basically, until you know that you cannot do any harm, you cannot lie, you cannot, you basically you can't, right? There's people that like, I can't lie, I can't do anything wrong to people. That's because you already gone through the journey experiences. So, and then I saw how you went around in circle, and then until you come to the end, into the end of reincarnation of the cycle. And then I still have 6 more lifetimes. And that's what I was shown. And then, which again, I could extend those 6 lifetimes. I could, I'll throw another 20, or it doesn't really matter. But I saw that I still had 6 more. Oh, and then I also realized that it was like, that was the real world. And that all along, this had been the dream simulation. Everybody now is talking about that, like, yeah, this is all a simulation. This is all a dream, the Maya. And then I was able to go to a couple of those lifetimes as well. So I saw the capsule, and then I went into one, and then I was like a Viking. And then I was like, it's different things. I was like a Roman. I was a Greek. I was a Native American slave. I was a soldier, and I just did different things. There were many different things. And then the 3 beings of light came, and they told me, we'd like to show you what comes next after you finish the cycle of reincarnation. So I was like, yeah, great, sure. So then basically I finished the cycle of reincarnation. When I became one with my higher self, that's when you become basically an ascended master. That's when you finish the cycle of reincarnation, the ascended master level, or the council light. I also realized that we become the council light. The council light is really you, us. They're just a fraction of our higher self. But then what I realized that these beings that came to tell me that what comes next, they were like really super advanced beings. So I felt all of a sudden like here, like, okay, I'm becoming an ascending master. But at the same time, I felt like a little kid, like graduating from kindergarten. And I was like, no way, man. Like, this is incredible. Like, these guys are my parents, and they're super advanced beings. And I just barely finished like kindergarten school, which was really interesting. And then after that, they told me, we want to show you what comes next. And I was like, okay. And then, so we walked out of that door, which had the council and had all my lifetimes. And then as we walked out of the door, I turned back, and then I saw that this school, this little chamber, had been our universe. And I was like, oh my God, that was our universe. And then they showed me that, okay, you can now go to the other schools or other universes. And then I saw these 3 universes or schools. And then in one of the universes was like the creator realm. And that's kind of like where you start becoming a creator, and you start creating life forms, and then you start creating, and then there's different levels there too. You can start creating planets, you start creating suns, galaxies, universes. So that's like the creator realm. So that was the universe. That was kind of like the creator realm. And then there was another universe where that was more like the Akashic record realm. And that's where you became like an Akashic record keeper, or knowledgeable of how the whole thing works, with how it's all connected, and all the information across the universe. And then, of course, in each one of those universes or realms, there's different levels, so that you can evolve. So then the same thing. So then it'll become levels like where you become ultimately maybe an Akashic record of the multiverse. And I was like, okay, these are cool schools. And then the third school that I saw was the third universe. It was the universe where, once you finish the cycle, you can then take like a humanoid body, and then you can go into different planets, like with more advanced civilizations, where everyone in that civilization is teleporting, has telepathy. Oh, it's able to work for the collective. It's working more as a universal consciousness. So maybe you're working with different star systems around in the galaxy, and you're working on different projects. And, so you start really working like at those levels. And then after that, they say, great. And that's what comes later on. It's like imagine you're in high school, and then they take you to go see the university. And they kind of tell me ahead of time what it will be like once I get to the university. So those are the different schools, the university, the other level. And then after that, they're like, okay, you can go this way. And then after that, I went to the Akashic Records. And once I went into the Akashic Records, that's where I saw Akashic Record keepers, which are like really tall beings. And they just came over. And then I knew all lifetimes are stored there, and pull information across from all the planets and universes. And then they came and gave me a book. And the book they gave me was the Book of Earth. And then once I opened the book, it was just a book of light. And then I saw the future of Earth. So I saw how we were going to eventually reach that utopia that we all wish that, world peace and no more borders, no more poverty. And then eventually the system's about to collapse. And because it's not based on integrity, because as a collective, we also are sent into the fourth dimension. And in the fourth dimension, it's a realm of transparency and integrity. So as a collective, as we're entering this realm of the fourth dimension, anything that it's not of that frequency, it's collapsing. So that's why in the next 10 years, we're going to go to a whole system of revelations in the governments, what the governments have done, corporations, banks, all this stuff. So then all this stuff is going to fall, and then new institutions are going to be integrated, and then they're going to create the American Union slowly over time. And then different unions, the African Union, the Asian Union, Arabic Union, and then ultimately no more borders, ultimately no more poverty, ultimately all, free energy, ultimately people are going to be, reincarnation is going to be proven completely within the next 20 years. Or I don't know exactly when, but that'll be the new norm. So everyone's going to be ascending. So, and then once we reach utopia, it was not even the end. It's kind of like when we finish the cycle of reincarnation individually, it's not the end. There's different realms. So once we reach utopia, it's like, that's not even the end. That's when we're going to start then communicating with different star systems. They're going to come like, okay, these guys are ready. They're finally graduated from kindergarten. Like they're ready to start communicating with other star systems. And so that's what I saw. And then after that, I saw that there's different realms of dimensions. They told me, okay, you can go to your levels, and then also know that there's also different realms. And at that point, I kind of decided that I wanted to come back because it wasn't, I still had things with my family that I just felt, oh, can I go back I asked for 6 months and then like an extension. And I wanted to come back and say, go back to my family and then go back. But I came back, but I didn't go back. Well, later on, I went through my awakening. So I've gone back again through more experiences. If you have any questions, and then I can continue more talking about the realms and the dimensions that we can talk about too.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. That is incredible listening to you describe the different universes that you saw. One question that you answered that a lot of people have is what happens when we're done with this reincarnation cycle? Where do we go after that? And not a lot of people are really able to answer that question. So it's really interesting that you saw that.
Yeah, yeah. I was really happy that I was able to see that. And then, but yeah, because I found me, and at first I didn't even believe in reincarnation. Or I didn't really know, I was like, yeah, okay. But then once I saw that, and then that they showed me that, yes, of course it's real. And then being able to see that what comes next, that was pretty amazing, for sure.
So you saw that after the reincarnation cycle, we become ascended masters or join the Council of Light. And maybe wording is difficult here, but for lack of a better language, what do ascended masters do and what does the Council of Light do?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Castle Light is just like, they're like basically the ones that when you are doing your soul contracts, they kind of guide you and they're like, okay, we see that you did really well in here. And then we know we see that you need to work on this and this. And, or they're like, like parents kind of like support as far as like in your life lessons and soul contracts. And then, of course, so then you get to that point where you realize that once you kind of like are mastering the lessons, then you come to realize that the council of light is really you all along. They're just fractions of you. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's what I came to understand that like later on, I went back to that to see the council as I went through my awakening. Then that's when I came to the revelation that they were really me. They're like, and they said, we're really you. We're just a fraction of you that once you are able to get to that level of mastering the lessons, then you realize that we're all really you. We're just a fraction of you that have been helping you evolve through life experiences. And so when you are ready, then that's when they start showing you your other lifetimes and you start understanding everything. And then you kind of like, I think you got to get to the point of non-attachment and letting go. Like I remember going into one of my lifetimes where I was like an African-American slave. Man, it was like torture or whatever. I just realized like I didn't get attached to that lifetime, even though I would have to go through like I went back in there, but I was like, oh my God, like oh like this is incredible, amazing, crazy all at once. But at the same time, it's like, okay, that's okay. That was just to learn that experience. So ultimately we gotta get to that point so that we can start seeing other lifetimes. Because many people are already struggling through this lifetime. But if it's about releasing everything, not being attached and letting go and the forgiveness so that you can get to that point where eventually it's, you let go of everything and then you become one with the council. The ascended masters, I think is just basically, again, us, right? Getting that level, like getting your degree where you become to that level of self-realization that you're able to completely complete the whole cycle of all the reincarnations. And then at that point, you're able to see all the lifetimes. You can go to all of them and then re-experience it all, kind of. And then you understand only everything is light, or you become like, there is no negative. Even the hardship that you have gotten in some lifetimes, you understand that all along was to help you evolve. And then from that place, those ascended master keep evolving, right? Because it's not like, okay, you become an ascended master and that's it. It's like, no, they also keep evolving. So that they can go to those other realms or the universes where they can, but then incarnate as a humanoid with this really amazing abilities, and then they can ascend in those realms. And then the way I can also explain more about the realms, because that's kind of like, it was shown to me how we evolve from different experiences from different realms.
There's some spiritual traditions that teach that ultimately we will completely dissolve back into source and lose our individual identity. And then there's others that teach that we continue evolving infinitely, basically, like each of us evolving into our own source, perhaps. What's your view on that?
Yeah, it's like on the side, you do become the source, of everything, but then you also kind of like become an individual at the same time. And then at the same time, there's like the different realms that we get to experience. And then, so I can explain a little further more into the realms. As far as like the way I saw the realms, like realm one or dimension one was the quantum realm.
Hmm.
And then, so you experience yourself as a quantum particle, as an atom. And then also like, because I've experienced myself as always, I have become the atom. So I've entered all these realms. And then, yeah, it's been pretty incredible.
What
And
did it
then,
feel like to be an atom?
it was pretty out there. It's so funny because in these realms, I came to evolve from the atom. It was incredible. It was like becoming the multiverse, basically.
Wow.
It was becoming the multiverse. It becoming the source. It was one with the source. And then I'll explain how, because at the end it's like different realms until you reach the highest realm. And then I ended up coming back to the beginning and I became the atom. And then it was the same thing. Being the multiverse was exactly the same as being the atom. It was the same thing. It was
Oh,
one and the same.
wow.
So what is it like to be an atom? It's becoming the multiverse. So yeah, it's pretty magical for sure. I became the atom a couple times. I also saw codes like in the movie The Matrix. There was all these
Hmm.
codes that are all over the atom. It's like 99% empty space. It's not empty. It's full of symbols. It's, I mean, I'm putting it out there too for scientists to be aware, because I don't know, most people are not aware. I mean, I'm sure the few people that have seen this, but I think many people are not even aware that there's actually, it's not empty space. It's full of symbols. So the 99% is not empty. It's full of symbols. I mean, that's what I saw. That's what was revealed to me. So there was like thousands of symbols flying through the atom. And then exactly the symbols like in the movie The Matrix, kind of like that, or Transformers, something like that, those kind of symbols. And then I just understood that all those symbols are kind of like information, and all your lifetimes are actually storing those symbols as well and everything. But yeah, it was pretty magical. So that was realm one. So becoming the atom. And I mean, again, I just experienced, for a few seconds, a couple of times, but I mean, you could probably explore the quantum realm and go deeper. That was the little bit that I experienced. And then the second realm was like, becoming the animals and plants and animals and microorganisms. So then that's like another realm. So then you can experience. So after maybe however long you can stay in each realm, time doesn't even exist, but let's say million years or however you want, experiencing yourselves in the quantum realm, then you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next experience, right? So then you enter the second realm, or then you become a microorganism, and then you become a plant, and then you become, an animals. And I became all of them. I have become a microorganism, and I became a plant, trees, and then I became the animals and stuff. So that was the second realm. And then the third realm was kind of like basically we're having the human experience and going through all this journey of reincarnation and lifetimes, and so that we can master the lessons. And that's the third realm. And then the fourth realm, the way I came to understand it. And again, I'm just like I put definitions of realms just to explain, because I think sometimes at the end there is no vision, right? It's all one. It's like it's kind of like dividing it up to explain something that is pretty far out. But at the end, it's like at the end there is not even division. It's all one. But again, it's just for experiences that we have this kind of division of realms. But kind of like the fourth realm, that the way I came to understand it was basically when people have, like I say, when people have NDEs, they see the light. That's just a portal to the fourth dimension. So then in the fourth dimension, that's where there's the council light, right? That's where you see the council light. That's where you see on your life review. That's where the Akashic records is, and that's where that realm is. With those experiences, all your lifetimes. So that's kind of like the fourth realm, and then the fifth realm, it's kind of like basically reaching that point of ascended master. So where you are basically already are graduating from the cycle of reincarnation, and where you're able to then start becoming all your lifetimes at once, and where you graduate, where you become the one with the council light, where you become one ascended master, and then you can also become the collective for a time and space. So let's say I wanted to become Christopher Columbus, I can go anywhere in space, and then I can become that person as well. So, and then the fifth realm is like a huge realm because that's where you can start experiencing yourself as like I said, as a humanoid or more advanced beings in different planets across the universe. So you can explore yourself in that realm for millions of years if you wanted. So that was like that experience that you're like, okay, now I'm gonna go experience myself in this other planet and this other planet, and I'm having more abilities and kind of like Marvel movie and this kind of stuff. So that's that I understood that was kind of like the fifth realm, and then the sixth realm. That's kind of like when you kind of like then you start going to the creator realm. So that's kind of like that's the way I understood. So the sixth realm is kind of like okay, and this realm is like I mean you start becoming a creator, you start creating life forms, and you start creating planets. So that's kind of like the creator of planets, and then you become the planet. Or you can also become the planets. So that's at the six, and then the seven is like become creator of suns, and then you actually become the suns across the universe. And then so you create suns across the universe, and then and then you ascend to the eighth realm. You can stay there for a long time as well in each one of the realms. And then you got sent to the A realm. The A realm is like you start creating galaxies, and then you dump galaxies, and then you see how it's all communicating across the universe. And then the ninth realm is like that you become the source, or our source in the universe. And then when you become the universe to the ninth realm, it's like there's a center at the center of the universe, which is called the great central sun. And then from there, I came to understand that's where all ideas, all information comes from the source, from the center of the universe, and they send out to the galaxies, and then the galaxies send it to the stars, to the suns, and then those stars send it to the planets. So that's like the ninth realm, and then the 10th realm is kind of like more the multiverse. That's like the multiverse realm, and then you start creating different universes, and then you become them. And then the 11th realm is you become the source. That's kind of like the source is basically the creator of the multiverse. So, and then from there you can even go further, right? The 12th, then you start exploring yourselves other sources and something like that. That's what I came to understand, that there's all these levels that we can ascend to. So there's infinite levels of realms of experiences that we get to experience ourselves. And eventually, that was something I would like to do, like create some kind of diagram and put it out there, just as a reference, so that people can start, because again, I'm just scratching the surface, seeing all these dimensions. A lot of people like Matthias and I mean, a lot of people talk about the different realms, right? The raw material. Brian, there's a lot of people talking about the dimensions. Eventually, I want to put together like some kind of diagram so that we could all start kind of like putting it together more and more. Like I say, it's like a puzzle. So it'd be really cool to, and eventually again, I'm like just scratching. I'm telling there's a lot of people that are going to be awakening all over the world, and then they're going to come downloading with even more information. So it's like, that'd be something that I would love to do as well. Like kind of put like a diagram so that the more people are downloading more stuff, they can have more and more. And they were kind of like building the whole puzzle even more.
I think that's a fantastic idea because that was going to be one of my next questions to ask you if you're familiar with the raw material, which you just mentioned. It's like correlates exactly because with the raw material, the first density is elements. You mentioned the quantum realm and the atoms. The second density is trees and animals. Third density is human. And then I'm sure you're familiar with how it progresses on, but I'm interested to hear like how you feel those two things correlate. Because there's some slight differences. Like with the raw material, it says that density 7 is where we merge back with the source. And with yours, it's density 11. So like how would you fit those two things together?
I know, like I was saying before, I'm just giving you my reference point.
Right.
Um, Again, I'm kind of like divided in that realm, in that sense. It doesn't really matter. I mean, as far as like 7 or 6 or 11, maybe if Rob was talking about the 6, maybe for him 6 was like, for me, the 5th to the
Right.
10, what I'm saying? Like, it just, maybe he mentioned it, that's it. I'm just trying to I'm breaking it down to 6 dimension from Rob into other dimensions to explain it even further. I mean,
Right.
I haven't even read the Rob, but I've seen a couple interviews. I think Aaron, was it Aaron? Well, this guy talks about the
Aaron
the raw
Abke?
material. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen him, and I haven't read the book. I mean, I need to read the book. And my name is Rafael, so like, man, I gotta read that book. But from what I've seen of the videos, I mean, I think it's like just explaining more and more like the different realms. And again, like I say, the more experiences, I mean, the experiences that I had, the more I know that I don't know anything. That happens, like I think when I saw those beings of light that they told me that we're going to show you what comes after you finish the cycle, and I felt like a little kid compared to them. Then that's the more I knew, like, man, I'm just scratching the surface. Like I don't really know anything. But at the same time, it's like, I'm just, okay, I'm just going to share everything I've experienced. And then, but yeah, I think at the end, we're all putting it together, like through all these materials and just try to understand more the fabric of the multiverse and the dimensions, the realms. Again, it's like, I know there's a lot of people talking about all the realms dimensions. So don't worry about, oh, the person say was this dimension, this realm. And I mean, like I say, I've come to a point where I transcended all dimensions and I came to, I saw like in the bubble and I saw the layers. And then that's when I saw the dimensions. But then I took up somehow those dimensions disappear, and it was just the bubble itself, right? The energy of light of the art universe, multiverse. But you see what I'm saying? So at the end, there is no even. I mean, not that there's no realms, but that's why people are seeing the different realms. It's so that there are downloads that we get just so that we can explain it to people in a way that it could be more people can understand it. Just kind of like, okay, turn the baby steps to try to help people understand more the universe or the universal consciousness, which it's divided itself in different fractions and different. I saw too how like the universe, like, oh, the source decided to create all these realms just to experience itself at different realms. So it kind of descended in realms, and then it kind of came back. And then at the end, it's like it's about coming back again, right? So then we ascend again. So the ascension is ascending in realms. So that's kind of like we ascend again back to source consciousness. So that's kind of. But all along, the source has created this just for the fun, because I saw that before, like it was just source and nothing else. And then it got kind of a little bored, and I was like, "Hey, I gotta do something, just experience myself in different forms." So then it's like, okay, I'll create different realms, and then I'll create different universes. And then each one of those universes are just a fraction of the source. And then it allowed it to do different things. And then it's just experience itself through all those different universes. And yeah, that's kind of like in a nutshell, a little bit about how I came to experience all the different realms and the dimensions and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have more questions, but I mean, I was just trying to be brief as far as all the videos, because I could talk for a long time about all this stuff.
Yeah, thank you for answering that question. It's a question that I get in my comments more and more because there are so many people talking about the different dimensions. And it sounds like what you're saying is that there's just different ways of explaining it, different reference points. Just like here on Earth, no two teachers are going to teach the same exact thing in the same exact way. It's just broken down differently to highlight different things, maybe. That makes sense to me. But yeah, I'd love to ask you more about this. So, these 11 dimensions that you saw, do those exist just within our universe, or do they also exist in the other universes as well?
Oh yeah, I think yeah, all across the different universes. Yeah, all across the different universes. Each universe has like different. I mean, again, different levels and different reference points. But yeah, I mean, again, I've only seen a second of this, so I'm not an expert on the different universes, but yes, from what I've experienced, seeing is like, yeah, it's also all the universes. But again, some of those universes are like the creator realms. But there is, I mean, I believe that from what I've been seeing, I've experienced, there is different levels. So just for evolution, I think that's the whole thing about, that's where we're here, right? That's where our souls keep evolving. They long to evolve, right? They don't want to be stuck. It's like like anybody, you don't want to be stuck in one place. So you want to keep evolving, having different experience. I mean, you want to go travel, you want to go try different foods. You see what I'm saying? You want to keep expanding it. And I think that's just our nature, that we want to keep expanding and evolving. And I think that's just kind of like not to be stuck in one place. And then I also saw that, yeah, that old souls evolve. Like it doesn't matter whatever people have done in the past. Like it doesn't, it'll kind of like balance itself, the energies, but then all souls at the end evolve, all souls. And then one of the things too that I like to share too, which I thought was really fascinating, was that once you start into the fourth realm, fourth dimension, that ultimately it's about, for everybody that's going to start having access to their parallel lives, or past lives, or future lifetimes, you're basically just opening your eyes when you start seeing them, right? So like, okay, I saw this lifetime I was this, and this lifetime I was that, and but at the end it's like, okay, that's just the beginning. That's just, you barely open your eyes. So It's like, okay, what comes next? So then it's like just for people to be aware. So kind of like in the movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, where you can start bringing stuff from other lifetimes. So I think that's kind of like ultimately where I'm seeing that that's something that we can get to that level where you could call it multidimensional manifestation, for example, where, okay, I'm going to become one with my higher multidimensional self. And then I'm going to start bringing different abilities. Maybe this lifetime I was an artist in Renaissance times, whatever. I mean, you can get to that level where you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to start that ability, become Leonardo da Vinci. And then, I was in this lifetime a healer. I was in this lifetime a shaman. I was in this lifetime, I don't know, a king. And then maybe I can start bringing, if they're abundance things. So that's ultimately, I think that's where we're heading as a collective as well, is that we're going to start, because reincarnation will be proven eventually. But then at the end, it's like, okay, now what? It's like, what comes after seeing your other lifetimes? It's like, well, you start becoming one of those lifetimes, or you can start bringing certain things from those other lifetimes and extracting them into this one lifetime. So I think that's something that I find fascinating. And I think there's a guy that does quantum jumping. I forget his name. Um,
I
I
know who
think
you're
he's a,
talking about. I
you
can't
know what I'm
think of the
talking about?
name.
Forgot the name of the guy, but I remember I didn't even know about him until like a month ago. And I was like, wow, that's kind of like how I've experienced and that how I'm seeing it. That there's there are all these other yous out there in a parallel universe or the parallel lives. So that there's another you out there, but being a king or being a nobleman or whatever. Right now, as we speak. So visualize like what kind of things you want in this lifetime, and then extract them from those other lifetimes, which are I think that's something that eventually where we're heading to as a collective and as individual, as people start awakening, is start extracting, becoming aware of their our multidimensionality. But again, people have to be ready, because not everybody's ready to start seeing some of the other lifetimes. I would say that just remember the solar simulation and then just see it like a game and try to see it from that perspective. And then I did see one of my future lifetimes, which was pretty interesting as well. Because I used to live in England. I used to live in Cambridge. And then when I lived in Cambridge, I was in London. And as I was taking the underground, down the escalator, there was nobody there actually. But as I was coming down the escalator, all of a sudden I went into the future, quantum jump into the future. And then I saw holograms everywhere where they were like by your apartment in Mars and different parts of different planets. And I'm like, okay, I time travel many times. I'm going to do it. So it probably been kind of normal to time travel. And then I was like, okay, I just time travel. But then all of a sudden, this guy appeared out of nowhere. And I was going down the escalator out of nowhere, appeared. Was coming up. And then he was kind of like a little hoodie, kind of like a Jedi master. And then all of a sudden I went into him and I was like, what? And then I took up my hoodie and then I saw Rafael. And then I realized that that's me in my future lifetime. I'm going to be living in London. And then I was just like, wow. And then I laughed, I smiled to this future self of me. And I was like, yeah, that's Rafael. And then I went back into my body, Rafael. And then they saw the me and then he just disappeared and the whole hologram disappeared. And I was just like, wow, man, I just had access to one of my future. So yeah, it's been pretty
That's so
fascinating.
that is wild. Imagine experiencing seeing your future self and being your
Yeah.
future self.
I mean, it's pretty wild. I think, and I sometimes think like, man, what is it? It's going to get really crazy. And I'm preparing myself because imagine me like, okay, let me go to this lifetime in London in the future in the year 3000 or whatever. And then I go there for a week and then I come back to Raphael. I
Oh,
mean, I was just
wow.
thinking
I
like,
never thought about that.
I mean, that's but the ascended master level. I'm not there yet, but it's possible to do. Like once you start getting to that point, you can go check out some of those other lifetimes. But again, I mean, you gotta be ready, man, because I got experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can't be attached because imagine there, and I have my wife, my kids, or whatever. No, I don't know. I haven't seen that, but I'm just an example. I reference that. I can't be like, well, no, I'm not living this lifetime, and it's like, well, you're still in another lifetime, so, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So then I think but that's why I said the ultimate goal to start reaching is like not to be attached to anything. And so that way you can get to that level where you can quantum jump to different lifetimes. And no matter what, you're just visiting, you're just passing through and then you can maybe quantum jump back to this lifetime. But I'm sure that I'm sure there's a lot of people out there as we speak right now, they're able to do that. Some of the very old souls that are able to do that. Yeah, but I know that it's possible for sure. Yes, absolutely. I'm not there yet, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hmm. Well, Raphael, I'd like to ask you, what is the purpose of this universe and evolution of lives that we're experiencing right now? And you just mentioned that it has to do with learning non attachment. Is there anything more to it, or does it basically boil down to that?
That's like the bottom. That's like the ultimate one, the non-attachment. Again, it's like the non-attachment, the letting go, right? The letting go is not, you not be attached to anything, which I think are the most difficult ones, right? So letting go of experiences, people that you love, or whatever. It's letting go and the non-attachment, the non-judgment, and the forgiveness. I would say those are the main ones as far as like you're able to release everything. Because as far as everything else with the kindness, and I would say those are the easy ones, or but the difficult ones that are like kind of like to clear everything out to liberate you. That's where it came. That's what the whole thing about liberation, to the suffering. And when does the suffering, the liberation comes? When you're able to completely let go of everything, not be attached to anything, completely forgive. The difficult ones are the ones that are gonna people work on those lessons. Again, it's mastering the lessons, but of course the difficult ones are those. And I think that as we are able to polish them and work on them, then that's when you're gonna start having these experiences. And again, like I said, because you can start seeing other lifetimes. First, seeing them might be just overwhelming. Like, oh my God, I just, but then later on, it's like, okay, well, you can actually maybe, I mean, but again, you got to be ready, man. You got to be completely not attachment. Okay, maybe you can go explore some of those other lifetimes, or you can start becoming one with your other lifetimes and bring things from all those other lifetimes. But yeah, ultimately, I think this is the non-attachment, the kind of like the ultimate one. Because if you go to other lifetimes, you have children, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. I mean, there's suffering in those other lifetimes, so you have to just be like, okay, this is all an illusion. Maybe that's another thing too. I think the whole thing about understanding that this is all an illusion of Maya, that's just a tool to help us navigate through these experiences. Because if you understand, like, oh, wait a minute, that was all a dream, it was all an illusion, that wasn't even real, then that kind of helps with the suffering, like, oh, okay, that was just for my learning purpose. And I'm not going to get attached with it. It was all a dream. So maybe understanding that it's all a Maya and illusion, that also helps.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like maybe what you're describing is learning unconditional love because we often confuse love with attachment. And true unconditional love is loving or accepting everything as it is without attachment and judgment. Would you agree with that or no?
Absolutely. Yes. 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 Yeah, that's the ultimate, right? The unconditional love. And even like Jesus, right? Well, I mean, when he was getting stabbed, right? Or he was like, what was he saying? Like, man, forgive them, man. This guy don't know what they're doing, right? He
Right.
was still loving them, right? I mean, that takes it to the next level, right? People are causing so much pain and they're like, man, I love him anyway, So, yes, I mean, ultimately, that's the ultimate. It's the unconditional love and the non-attachment and non-judgment. And yeah, that's the way to ascend.
Okay, well, I have one more question for you. You mentioned part of the purpose of this life being to learn the 12 virtues so that we can evolve past the cycle of incarnation. And I wrote down kindness, unconditional love, patience, letting go, forgiveness. And what were the others?
Fundamental virtues, I would say respect,
Hmm.
humbleness. Did I say letting go? Letting
Yeah.
go. Yeah. Non-judgment,
Hmm.
non-judgment, non-attachment, respect. I think, I mean, just the fundamental virtues of kindness and compassion and integrity, ethics.
Hmm.
So just becoming humble and being honest and having this is just the virtue as whole virtues that to ultimately be a good human being. And like my website is decodinglifelessons.com. And I help them through, decode the lessons, right? So, okay, I'm going through this life experience. Okay, well, let's decode it. What is this experience? Because at the end, it was a soul contract that you made before you came down that you wanted to have this experience for soul growth, right? So what is the lesson to be learned? So then if you like, okay, well, I'm going through this and this. Okay, well, let's look at what lesson, right? And again, the difficult ones are, like I say, well, next time you got to be honest. You have to have that integrity. You're going to have that respect, or you're going to have to not judge other people. You're going to have to be able to let go. You're going to have to be able to forgive. So I mean, at the end, all life experiences are to teach us a lesson. So all life experiences are to teach us something. So yeah,
I know I said that was the last question, but you reminded me of something else that I was going to say. And you experienced being an atom, and you said it was the same as being the multiverse. It reminds me of near death experiencers when they go to the void and they say that it's like everything and nothing all at once.
yeah, exactly. And that was like coming the void. Yeah, because for me, like when I So I went to the realms, to the dimensions. But once I reached the I mean, again, I called it 11, but it doesn't matter what dimension you want to call it. But once I became the source, was the source of the multiverse, then at that point was like this. I just knew at that point was like, okay, at this level now, you can go to the next realm, or you can go to, and then like you can go and enter higher, even higher realms, or but then the what I understood was like you can go explore other sources with different multiverses and communicate with them. So I was just like, whoa, man, that I don't know if I'm ready to go see other. And then, but at that point, I was like, and then it told me, okay, if you're not ready to see that, then you can go back to the beginning and just for the fun, start all over again from Rumble one. So then I was like, yeah, I think I'd rather go back. So then at that point, that's when I went back all the way down. That's when I became the Atom. And then that's when I realized that becoming the source of the multiverse and it was exactly the same thing as being the Adder. It was one and the same. And at the same time, yeah, it was like becoming the void. You know what I'm saying? Becoming the multiverse and becoming the Atom is like becoming the void at the same time. It's like you just said, like it's everything, but there's nothing all at once. But then again, it's all these realms of experiences. And again, it's just for the fun. All of this was created just for fun because if there was nothing to experience, then it'd be like, man, this is like nothing to do. So like, okay, I'm going to create a system where I'm going to have this an opportunity for growth and experiences for through different realms and then an evolution, right? And then again, you can stay in those realms for a long time and however long you want. And then, but yeah, at the end, it'll keep wanting to evolve more and more. And then, but something that I did think was fascinating was like, that I think was important for me to share with the world was what I mentioned before was that all these people having NDEs and all these people having out of body experiences and all of this information, that all these interviews, that's just people having access to the fourth dimension. You see what I'm saying? And that's just a realm. So all the council light and that's what people say, like, that's heaven. I went to heaven and I went to see the God. I saw my family and that's just a realm. But there's higher realms than that. You see what I'm saying? Which I thought that was mind blowing and fascinating. I'm like, okay, people are having access to this council lights and all, but there's even higher realms. That's just one realm. That's the fourth one. So then after that, there's even higher realms because that they graduate, that's just a level of consciousness. So even once you reach that level of consciousness you actually become a counselor in the fourth and fifth dimension. But then there's higher realms, you know what I'm saying? So there's that experience so there's higher realms in heaven. If you want to call it heaven, where you see the council line up. First, there's even higher realms than that. So yeah, there's higher realms and higher realms. So which I thought it was fascinating. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's just one realm. Like, that's not it. Like, no, that's not it. Oh my God. So yeah, I thought that was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that's one thing that is just continuously amazing to me is just the vastness, what's out there. But not even just in our own universe, but then talking about multiverses and infinite multiverses and that continue on seemingly forever. It's just crazy to me. But Raphael, thank you so much for being willing to share with us today. I'd like to give you a chance to let the viewers know where they can find you. You mentioned your website. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about?
Yeah, I have so my website, that's where I help people with with their life lessons. And then there's another website too. I'm trying to put projects together, to help with the ascension. And that's website is just, if people want to see the website, it's supernova, like an explosion, and then talks, like TED Talks.com. So supernovatalks.com. And there I'm just putting it out there for the universe with different ideas as far as like creating different documentaries about the different realms, the different dimensions, and creating series, creating apps, creating, just so many different ideas, social media platforms, and just a lot of different ideas that I'm coming up with, like just to help with the ascension of realm and putting this information out there. So yeah, and everybody's welcome to see those ideas. And if they resonate, just contact me, my girlfriend, we're doing it together. My girlfriend Lynn, and we're putting it together with all these ideas. And then we're trying to find a way to help with the ascension, put it out there more, all this information more and more. Because the more we put it out there, the more it's going to be access to people, the more, then people are going to resonate, the more people are going to be yeah, this is a new reality, right? So we're shifting in consciousness and reality. So yeah, that would be great. People see the websites as well.
All right. And
And
for anyone who missed it, he also mentioned his other website, decodinglifelessons.com. So I'll have both of those in the description. Raphael, thank you so much. Again, this has been an extremely fascinating conversation. to me. I'm really
Yeah. Oh,
excited to
thank you,
share
Melissa. Thank you
this.
so much as well.
Yeah,
I
of
really
course.
appreciate you interviewing me. And yeah, let's spread the messages, right? Let's keep getting it out there.
Thank you for watching the Love Covered Life podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and comment with your thoughts and opinions, and check the description box for the links to my free community where I share lots of resources, my Pay What You Can community where we do classes and challenges together, my TikTok, Instagram, my Clips channel, and lovecoveredlife.com where I share my paintings. Thank you so much for your support.